But this kind of feeds into those like of perspective, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why I guess traveling tradies came about was that shift in perspective. I was one of those people we're talking about. When it all happened for me, I went inside. I just went, I'm out, right? And people are like, oh, you're going on a holiday, it's all great. In my head, I'm like, just get me the fuck out of here.
You're escaping.
Just get me the fuck out of here ASAP.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest episode of Trademutt's 120 Grit podcast, the podcast for the working class. Got a good mate of ours in the studio today. He's flown all the way up from Melbourne. He is the founder of Travelling Tradies, plumber by trade, and he's an all-round global traveller. The legend himself, Mr. Adam Valastro.
Thank you, lads.
Welcome.
For having me.
Can I just start by saying, mate, you're quite raspy today.
Yeah, I am raspy. I'm sorry about this.
How sexy.
I know.
Thank you.
Enjoy it.
How you going, ads?
I'm good, lads. I'm really good. Sun shining, can't complain. Here in the studio. Great.
I've missed this moustache, mate.
Thank you, mate. I just got it back. I had a beard for 8 months and no one recognised it. Now I've got it back and I'm like, I'm not getting nothing.
I'm a big fan. I'm happy to see it, and I'm very happy to see you, mate.
Thank you. Me too, lads.
We're going to dive into a few topics today and talk about a couple of things in travelling tradies and some stuff you've got on. But you're a plumber by trade.
I am. Worked in the industry for about 12 years. Started my apprenticeship kind of not really how I wanted to get into an apprenticeship. It kind of just happened. Actually grew up in Phillip Island, which is south of Melbourne, about 2 hours. Finished high school, didn't really know what I wanted to do. Actually joined the Navy. Fun fact for you. Did a gap year in the Navy. Post in the Navy.
There you go. A scoop on Trademutt's 120 Grit podcast.
Why is it the first time we're finding out about that?
Because it kind of just goes. Like nobody asks, and then I'm like, you know
You
what?
get a photo in all your white kit.
I do, actually. I'll find it. I'll send it through. I'll send it through.
Send
please.
that through.
So joined the Navy, did a gap year in the Navy, and I kind of, at school, obviously, same with yourselves, I'm almost certain there's no real career advice or direction or guidance. I love the ocean, so my kind of thought pattern behind the Navy was I love the ocean, they're on the ocean, great, let's give it a crack. Dad was in the military for quite some time as well, so it was that kind of guidance towards that. And don't get me wrong, I love the Navy, I love everything about it, I just didn't or couldn't lose my willpower or free will, so to speak. I was quite an angry young man, and that was kind of, detrimental to what the military looks for as well. So basically left the Navy, moved into the city. My cousin was a plumber. He said, come and live with me, come and work with me because you got to pay rent. And that's how I ended up a plumber.
Yeah, right.
What's your background? Your culture? You're Italian, aren't you?
Yeah, Italian.
Yeah, so you'd have a cousin that does pretty much everything, right?
Everything, right? Bricklayers to chippies to whatever else. So
nice,
pizza
nice.
shops, the works,
Awesome, mate. So you sort of fell into that?
Yeah, fell into that, but it wasn't something that I was totally lost. At that age of my life, I had no direction anyway. So it was something, I felt good, I was getting the body moving, I was earning money as an 18-year-old. You're like, great, even as an apprentice. Started off as a labourer, actually, and then got to a point where they offered me an apprenticeship, took on the apprenticeship, and then it kind of just snowballed from there. I wasn't really riveted in my trade. Like, it was the physical side of stuff I really loved, and I loved, seeing something visually that you've created at the end of it going, fuck yeah, I did that, right? But my mind was never being pushed to where it could go. And I didn't really know what it was, but as, you're 18 years old, you start getting some cash, you start drinking, you start going out, you start having a bit of fun. That became the focus. And so over the next 4 years, I got heavily into partying and heavily into, that was my excitement of doing different shit and spending the money. And I had no guidance on how to save or to invest or anything like that. And I also felt I was on top of the world at 18 and could do anything I wanted to do. Got to a point towards, it was about 2 years into my apprenticeship, and the company I was working for actually went under. So I had to move ship, so to speak. I basically got offered a job interstate in Adelaide. So worked in Adelaide. I also got offered post that in Brisbane and then Sydney. And I moved around a lot. And it was almost because I didn't like to get complacent. I had itchy feet. So every time I got somewhere and then got bored of it, I was like, okay, what next? And that's kind of how it unfolded. And ended up towards, the end of the 10 years in the trade. I ended up in Perth, and I was working on a couple of different sites there and doing shutdowns in the mines and that kind of stuff as well. Ended up in Perth, was living in a place with 4 of my mates and my brother. So I was a big-ass bachelor pad, and we had a lot of fun. We were all getting paid pretty good money, but there was, again, no direction for it. We were all totally burnt out. Drugs and alcohol were our vice. We partied a lot. And myself and a couple of the others, we ended up in a pretty downward spiral. I ended up on the bottom of my ass where I was just waking up every morning going, what's the fucking point? And I was never towards the suicidal side, but I was in a very heavy mental state. I had everything kind of from the outside in, but nothing really from the inside out. And it was only after a couple of lads I knew that we worked on a job site together in Perth. They took their own lives in the space of about a week and a half, and that was the end for me. I went, fuck this, resigned from my job and booked a ticket overseas. So that was the start of the next chapter, but it was a rough road during that time.
That's that moving around a lot when you were an apprentice. Do you think that was it because you felt unsettled generally, or was it more because you're like an excitable kind of adventurous character, or was it just maybe a bit of a feeling of being a bit lost? Or
I think it was all of the above.
Yeah, right.
Most definitely. I didn't really have an understanding of any direction that I wanted to do. I didn't have any kind of guidance or knowledge in other fields as well, and I was also quite, I would say, naive in certain areas where I was stuck in the rhythm, like a lot of tradies I feel, right? You started to earn good money, you're good at your trade, you've been in there for 5, 10 years, 12 years, whatever it is, and you get complacent, right? It becomes a rhythm, and it's really hard to break that mold and break that barrier to start afresh or fuck off and do something different.
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably get quite comfortable, just in life in general. I mean,
Right.
That's okay if that's like what, if that's what
If that's your thing,
tickles
do
your
you-
fancy
do
for
you,
sure.
yeah.
But I suppose what you're saying there is, settling in and getting complacent, and then just kind of not really getting outside the box, or thinking outside the box too much, and just becoming a bit of a monotonous existence,
Yeah.
I suppose.
And this is the thing, though, is when these opportunities to travel or go interstate or do something different with a new company, I'd always take them. And why? It's because I'm like, great, something new and exciting for X amount of time. And I knew, deep down in my bones, I knew that it wasn't going to last forever. But if it could lead me to the next thing, to find the next thing, great.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. I mean, you're obviously very outgoing because it's hard. Like, I know a lot of people that traveling or moving away interstate where they don't know anyone and don't know who they're working with. It's just like their worst nightmare.
Yeah.
You know?
A lot of people, and even like going to the mines and things like that, a lot of people still feel that isolation, right? I think something about my character, and I guess, I don't know, it's kind of the way we grew up and my family as well, is we love being social people. But if push comes to shove and we have to be alone, then we can still be alone. And being comfortable in that aloneness, learning that is the hardest part, but also feeling comfortable in that. It doesn't just happen overnight. And that was, traveling a lot. And it wasn't at all roses and dandelions. Like there was some shit times of being alone. Like, I just don't want to fucking be here. But it was that mental game of that acceptance of the choice of being like, well, I chose to be here. I've chose to come here. So,
is that in the traveling stage or moving around working stage?
moving around working first.
Yeah,
and I think that's what gave me the resilience. So when I did travel globally, it was already kind of a little bit prepared, I guess. And it wasn't as much as a cultural punch in the face as what it could have been. So yeah, traveling a lot for work, I really loved that. But being comfortable in the aloneness was definitely a strength that I had. And it's not for a lot of people, like you were saying, Ed. Like a lot of people shit their pants, and I get it.
Yeah.
From a lot of the conversations that we have with people around this sort of stuff, is that search for identity as a young bloke, late teens, early 20s, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think there was probably, in hindsight, there was a bit of that for you, like trying to figure out who you were and what your role in life was supposed to be?
It was searching, but searching for what?
For what? Not knowing. Yeah.
No fucking idea.
And I think that, mate, that's common, eh?
Yeah, but it's one of those things, and I feel fortunate in the fact that eventually by keep opening different doors and taking different opportunities, that then the door that I really wanted to pursue presented itself, right? And that doesn't happen unless you can push your boundaries of your own personality and step outside the comfort zone and try these different things. I strongly believe that's when those opportunities start to present themselves, right?
Well, a lot of people think that, I was speaking to a mate recently who's, sick of the trades, doesn't, had a gut full of it.
Common
and I'm like,
thread.
mate, just go, just piss off overseas for 12 months, 8 months. And, he's sort of age now where, he's like 27 and he's like, oh, well, if I go over there, then, when I come back, I'm just going to be at square one again. And it's sort of like, well, not really, because you're going to be learning so much shit over there. And I mean, what's the difference between now and 2 years? You know what I mean? Like you're going to bring back more value from what you've learned overseas. Is that something that you realised when you went travelling?
100%. And there's this is a common thought pattern by a lot of people, and it's hard to explain to people, especially if you've never travelled before, especially if you've never gone outside the nest and been pushed to the absolute boundaries of what is in your control and being able to realise and flow in the momentum of the moment of what's happening and go, you know what, I've got no control of the situation. And still coming out the other side bigger, better, stronger, more resilient. You can't explain that to someone unless they experience it
themselves. Yeah, well, I think
you cannot. Like, it's just impossible.
The other thing too is, I heard an interesting thing from a mate the other day, and he said, people overestimate what they think they can do in a year,
and underestimate what they can do in
10 years. You know what I mean? I'm just like, fuck, that is 100% true.
It's
so many people,
bang on.
Yeah, so I mean, people thinking that you've got to get in and smash yourself out and get all this shit done in 12 months or 2 years. I mean, whereas you should be sort of looking at it from a bigger picture and say, you know what, if I just go and do this, come back, do a few more years from what I learn overseas, then I can be further ahead from taking that time away because, like you burn out.
Yeah, exactly right. And a lot of people, because you're in that rhythm, it's hard to stop.
Yeah.
And go recharge for a bit and then come back, and you're going to be 10 times more productive. Or you might come to a realization where you're like, I want to try something different.
Yeah.
Or do something different. Or get different ideas.
Do you reckon that we talk about, all that sort of stuff, what you can do in a year, all this sort of, talking about your mate who feels like that he doesn't know what he's doing or, expectation to succeed.
It's not so much what he's doing. It's sort of he's thinking that if he goes and changes something now, he's going to waste time. Like he thinks it's a time wasting thing.
But do you think there's a fundamental issue with the perception of success and where people should be at certain stages of their life? Because I feel like a lot of people fall into this trap of thinking, oh, they've got to do this, follow this path that appears everyone else has taken before them because that's what the majority are doing. So therefore, that must be kind of where I need to go. And so this kind of perception of success or where they should be at a certain point in their life. Yeah. I mean,
social norms, social expectations, 100%. There's many people I know that are stuck in that.
Yeah, for sure. And I just another reminder last week for me again, like with Brad Cox, a mate of ours, one of his band members, they were playing a gig at the Warwick Rodeo last weekend. His guitarist had a heart attack on stage. CPR for
he's only like 20-something.
20-something. CPR for 25 minutes from a nurse in the crowd until he became responsive again. And he's now recovering in a hospital in Brisbane. Hunter Beasley, he should, that doesn't happen. You don't hear those stories, right? And doesn't that just change your, absolutely everything in life? Suddenly, everything else doesn't become not nearly as important.
Yeah, I know, but that happens How do
you think that occurs, though? Because I know how it happened for me, and it was a punch in the face of life to go, hey, man, lucky it wasn't me of it being in an accident or pure suffering, but it was my mindset being really tested and then people that I really cared about being taken off the earth. And you're like, that was my punch in the face.
And this is the thing. Sometimes, you can talk about this, that or the other, but sometimes it's not until someone just experiences their own rock bottom that's when they achieve perspective.
Correct.
Right? And so it's hard, I guess, to try to impart that idea onto anyone until they actually...
you can't, but it's sort of being... I know, having conversations like this and people being like, oh, fuck, maybe I can go do that. You know what I mean?
Self-awareness, though, and I think in our reflection and retrospection of yourself, your life, what's important and stuff like that, not a lot of people do that often, right? And it's only when life hands us a shit hand that we go, fuck, maybe I'll step away from the game for a bit and recharge.
So that moment for you when you lost, so you mentioned you lost a couple mates. So can you talk us through that moment before you decided to chuck it all in and go for a ride?
So it was really interesting though the way it unfolded for both of them. It was they were both real jovial lads. The whole job site knew them. One was the lift driver inside, which, as you both know, is a pretty relentless job mentally. 8 to 10 hours every day going up and down the same thing, speaking to the same 4 or 5 blokes every day. But he had this bravado and he had this, humor that was, in hindsight, was his Band-Aid, right? But it was hard to see. And I think that the age, if I was there now, and in hindsight's a wonderful thing, I would see through the shit. But back then I was deciphering my own demons in my mind, I guess, without even being able to realize that he was on the bare bones of his ass. And Damo hit me real hard like that. That punched me in the face really, really hard because it was just a total shock of, he reminded me, like we had similar personalities, very jovial, very over the top, very, we like humor. So for me, that was a real big punch in the face. And, to be fair, the actual job site was really well equipped post that of being able to try and help. But again, it wasn't enough when, the next fella took his own life recently after. And that was literally, I went home that night and I just went, fuck this. Like, I am done. I am actually done. I went to work the next day. I spoke to my boss. I was shitting my absolute pants. And basically said to him, was like, mate, I'm tired. I'm burnt out. I feel like shit. And I just want to get out of here. And to my surprise, he was actually really, really supportive. He'd traveled a lot when he was younger and he was like, mate, go, you're always welcome back. And that just gave me a sense of kind of acceptance, which a lot of people are afraid of to even speak to their employers, or that sense of job security or whatever is what guides them, right? So having that relationship with people, or just having the conversations, typically what you boys are trying to do as well, is the hardest part. But once you can get those conversations out there and it starts to become a normality, it's easier for people to do it, right?
Yeah, for sure. So, run us through that. Was it just like you guys were on site and found out because you didn't rock up, or what was the... They
actually called us in. So when the first day when Damo didn't roll in, it was kind of like, oh, there was no one at the lift. Like, what's going on here? And then they called us into the site shed, and then they basically hit the news and basically said, if you guys want to go home, it's all good in the hood. Our employer at the time actually took us all into the space and was like, look, guys, if you need anything, let us know. Take the rest of the day off, come back. But the next day it was dark. Like, you could just feel the heaviness. And it was a site with, 200 blokes on there. Like, it was felt across the board. And then again, when it happened recently after, it was kind of like...
Was that on the same site?
Same site. What the fuck is going on? And it was just a big...
And so that guy was obviously there when all this went through, the first guy.
And this is the thing, is like, there was no telltale signs, so to speak, again. And this is what we've spoken about previously, is, it's about the culture, and it's about the image, and it's about expectation, and it's about all the things that we know we're doing wrong, but we can't get out of the rhythm, right?
And this is one of the things that is really grinding my gears at the moment, is it like all these, there's lots of mental health talks and all that sort of stuff going on, and it's all about spotting the signs of depression and anxiety and looking out for these signs and those signs and whatever. That's great. Like, that's all, well and good, but I'm sick of hearing the same old story of there were no signs.
Yeah.
Like maybe there was this, but ultimately he was a happy-go-lucky person that, seemed on the outside really bubbly and happy. So it's like people who are taking their lives just don't seem to be portraying these typical signs that we seem to think we need to look for.
Or they're really good at masking them.
Really, but exactly right. That's what I mean. Like, really, people are really good at hiding. They just don't want anyone to know.
And that's fine, That's fine if you don't want it, if you don't want anyone around you to know, but we need to be sort of encouraging people to seek out a professional or someone, or just call, even if it's an anonymous thing. Like, that's what,
100%.
It's the hard part.
Yeah, the resources are definitely out there. It's just sometimes, pride and ego might stand in the way, or it's not being introduced to it, or it's a cultural acceptance, or it's family, or it's something.
But, for me... I don't know, how it's getting worse, because like you're saying, everyone's talking about it, right? Like, everyone's talking about it. It's where I'm just not sure why at the moment it's sort of like even last week, mate called up. He's like, mate, like a rep just called me up. He's, talking about he's going to go hang himself. I'm just like, holy shit, mate. Like, don't call me, call the cops. You know what I mean? Like, and they got him. But, I'm just, there's all this stuff out there and people do know, but why are they still choosing not to? I don't know.
I think it's honestly just that feeling of when you're at that lowest of low, when you're in the darkest tunnel, like it's really, really hard to see out of it, and that's the scary part.
You feel totally alone.
Yeah,
it's
you
one
do.
of those things. Even if you know you're not alone, you feel totally alone.
Yeah, and you can be as educated as you want around it, but when you are actually experiencing that, all the education goes out the window.
No, it means nothing.
And you can't, you just cannot see out of it, and so that's the scary part for me. But that's where that cultural shift really needs to occur, this whole perception of success and happiness and masculinity and this, that and the other, like it's all just so wrong.
Right. But this kind of feeds into those of perspective, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why I guess Traveling Tradies came about was that shift in perspective. I was one of those people we're talking about. When it all happened for me, I went inside. I just went, I'm out. Right? And people are like, oh, you're going on a holiday, it's all great. In my head, I'm like, just get me the fuck out of here.
You're escaping.
Just get me the fuck out of here ASAP.
Yeah.
Right? And I was very confident in myself as a person, which a lot of people may not feel that way, right? Especially going to a random country, random language, random people, and putting yourself out there when I wasn't in the best headspace, maybe for a lot of people isn't the best thing to do, right? But for me, I needed to really put myself in a position that pushed all of my boundaries of comfort to make me come out and go, okay, great. Now I'm here on my own, and one or two things happen. I either go home or I persevere through and I figure out what the fuck is going on.
So talk us through that traveling. Talk us through,
where'd you go
Where'd
first?
you go? How long you were going for?
So flew into
how many
Santiago
parties
in
you went
Chile.
to?
This is the thing, right? And I'll touch on all these aspects because when I first went overseas, I had no plan, right? I only had a goal that I wanted to be overseas for a minimum of 6 months. That was it, right? I wanted to go to South America. I wanted to go for quite some time, but I could never take the plunge. And it only took something horrendous to happen in my life to go, just fucking go. So I did, right? Pissed off overseas, arrived in Chile, spent a little bit of time there, not too long, partied a lot, but then headed straight over to Brazil. And that was because I met another Aussie dude there and you become mates and then boom, straight over. Actually went to the first Tomorrowland, which was in Brazil, post out of the European one. And that was the start of the adventure, which was partying, right? And had an amazing time, met some amazing people. But the first month that I was overseas in Brazil, I'd spent a third of what I'd saved, right? And that was because new country, new people, you're just splashing cash, you're paying X amount of dollars for a beer that you would never do back home, but you're overseas, so why not? And I got to a point after the month where I was like, fuck, I'm going to go home in like a month and a half. Like, what am I doing, right? But I could have easily got swept away and just kept spending cash and doing all that thing. But where I was in Brazil, I was on this beautiful beach town in a place called Ubatuba, which is beautiful surf. It's very tropical. It's beautiful. And it was surreal. And I loved being there. And it was the first time in about 5 years that I was actually genuinely happy. And I had nothing on my mind. I was just absolutely like in bliss, like state of bliss. And I remember going for a surf, coming back in, heading towards the hostel, and basically looked at the hostel and there was shit falling down everywhere. There was broken doors, a broken window, the garden looked like shit. And I walked up and I was like, fuck, I wonder if I could just fix that up and maybe stay for nothing, right? So I went and spoke to the owner, Vinny, and basically offered my trade skills in exchange for food and accommodation. And at the start, it was a little bit, not hesitant, but like they have other volunteers that do other different things, reception and cleaning and all the rest of it. But, being a hostel or a hotel where there's people and foot traffic going in and out every day, they had no one there really to do it, right? And handyman skills around the world aren't the best in a lot of countries. So it was something that I knew I could do. It wasn't hard for me to do, and I knew they would hopefully get some benefit out of it. And basically, that's how it kind of snowballed. I started at the one hostel and basically progressed for the next 3 and a bit years, all through South America, North America, a little bit of Europe, and offered my skills the whole way along. And it was the money saved aside, because I only spent about 12 grand in that 3 years, but that money saved, apart from all that, it was the benefits of everything else that really molded me into who I am today. And it was that sense of adventure. It was that affordable travel, but it was also the understanding and shift in perspective of people, places, culture, food, and problems would arise. And when you're 3 o'clock in the morning, get kicked off a bus in the middle of the desert somewhere, and you're like, what the fuck am I going to do here? Like, you can bitch, moan, you can scream all you want, but it's not going to help, right? And it was that growth of like, okay, great. And really perspective of putting into my world of what is actually important. And that was the biggest shift in my mind of coming back and realizing a cold coffee isn't a problem. Or, great, I missed the bus. Who gives a shit? Like, it's all good. There's going to be another one and another coffee. Some people don't even have a bus or a coffee. And that was the biggest shift for me. So what I tried to do coming back to Australia was basically create the same opportunities for people in my industry, our industry, that have been where we've been, right? On the bottom of the arse, because I know, and the first kind of rebuttal against the idea was, well, I wouldn't do what you did, go to a random country, speak to a random motherfucker and try and hook it up. And I went, great, what if I could do it for you? And that's how it unfolded. So, yeah.
We'll get into the travelling tradies thing and what you're doing now. But I suppose, how long were you overseas for?
3.5 years.
Wow.
And so
it's a long time.
You spent a third of your cash in the first month, and then you spent 12 grand over the remaining
12 grand total, so 8 in the next.
Yeah,
and a bit in the next.
Yeah.
But this was the thing, though. It was like money. The way I did it, people think, because you can spend. If you want to be overseas and you want to spend, you can spend. I've had mates that have spent 40 grand in 3 months in Europe. Like, that's a lot of cash.
Mate, that's Europe.
Right.
That's doable.
Yeah, easily doable.
Mate.
But even in places like anywhere in the world, right? At the end of the day, it's humans are humans, right? You scratch my back, I scratch yours. You're a good person, I'm a good person. Great, we get along.
You just point it down and say that?
It was general.
Yeah, I've always said in general sense.
You're a good.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, that's better.
But it is, and I've got a motto: is just don't be a dick. Like, don't be a dick. Everyone's great, right?
It's pretty good.
It's good. Don't
It's
be
a good
dick.
philosophy.
But so when you've gone travelling though, so you've got there's two to this. You're either going travelling, or you're going to kind of live and immerse yourself in the culture, right?
Yeah.
And so for that amount of time, you're not going to travel and spend as such. You're
Right.
going there to live, right? And
But there's a difference between being a traveller and being a tourist. So you've got to understand what you want to do and what you want to be.
Yeah.
And if you actually want to travel, there's ways to travel, not being a tight ass, by being resourceful with something that you've got that can benefit the place that you're going, and they've got something that you need.
the old bartering system.
Hello.
Been doing it for years.
Thousands of years. And this is the thing. It's not a new concept.
Yeah.
We've just got a new spin on an old fucking concept. Like, that's it. And for me, it was just getting down to that raw human level of, hey, let me help you and you help me. Great. The relationships that were born from that are everlasting. Like,
What are some of your most memorable? What are some of the best jobs you had to do?
right. I've done a whole bunch of different stuff. I've been in a lot of different, around the world, their plumbing isn't that great. So I've been in a few pooey situations, so to speak. Big pits, stuff like that have overflowed, or cleaning them out. But I was happy to do that. Like, a lot of people would be like, no, fuck that. And I get it. But when I was over there and these guys had put me up in this beautiful place and I'm looking at waves and take me out to the local stuff, I don't mind doing that, right? And that's not for everyone, I get it. But I did a whole bunch of different stuff, even just simple things like putting a TV up on the wall because they've had them on a pile of books on the floor for the last 8 months. Like, they love that shit, right? That's great.
Yeah.
So it's handyman jobs. You're not putting up whole walls or new buildings.
Pitching a roof or something.
Right. It's just fixing maintenance, repairs, patching roofs if they're leaking into the kitchen or whatever it is, right? So whole bunch of different
How
stuff.
do you say TV bracket in Brazilian?
TV bracket?
That is exactly what I imagined.
Everything's got an O at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
And an upward inflection somewhere to it.
And so talk us through some of your other experiences. Like what
Yeah.
were some of the memorable places that you went and saw and visited while you were working and traveling?
Mate, so the world is a beautiful place, and this is the thing, every place has its own uniqueness. And the biggest thing for me is a place doesn't make a place. It's the people in the place that always make the place. Because I've been to places in the world where people are like, oh, that's a shithole. And I'm like, I had the best time ever. I had the greatest experience of my life there. And that's really back down to, to humans, right? And if they show you a good time, look after each other, That's where the kind of experience is bred from. So, Brazil holds a special place in my heart is because it's where it all started. Southwest of France, just because it's super beautiful. Morocco, I love. Where else? Mexico, I adore. Like, there's a whole bunch of different places for different things, though, right? I'm a big lover of the ocean and the beach, so that kind of guides my travels in a lot of places. But a lot of hiking and a lot of different aspects. Nature blows my mind, and it gave me a lot of clarity around. It really puts into perspective of how little we are. Going in the middle of the Amazon for a couple of weeks and hiking through that really makes you understand how insignificant we are as people and how we really need to take control of what we want to do and give it a red hot crack.
I suppose you would have, met a whole lot of people along the way, made some, good relationships and some good friends.
Yeah, and even the meetings of people where sometimes in situations, relationships are formed very deeply, very quickly because of situation. If it's a sketchy situation or, we had moments on a bus and people coming on with machine guns and you're like, the next person next to you becomes your best mate real fucking quick.
Run us through that.
Just over the borders of different countries, Peru to Ecuador, that kind of stuff. Testing papers, they would do a lot of, drug checks and things like that. I've had stuff stolen out of my bag under my feet. Was somebody sleeping there and I apologized to him for kicking him, just random shit. But it's all part of the experience. And after that moment, when all my shit got stolen, it was, either I bitch and moan and kick up a stink, or I just laugh about it and crack on and try and figure it out, right?
So where did all that happen? Where did you get all your shit stolen?
That was in Peru. That was still on the Peru side. That was driving to the border. Yeah.
And how did it happen?
So the buses are quite packed. And I was sitting in a seat and I put my valuables at my feet. And at night time, because it might be a 16-hour, 20-hour bus ride, and they got the same movie playing 75,000 fucking times.
You're joking.
And everybody loves playing music loud on their phone out to the 75 songs playing. And you're just like, I don't know what's happening right now. Earplugs in, peace, I'm out. Going towards the border, middle of the night. I was sleeping, my friend was sleeping next to me. Somebody tapped my feet, I felt something tap my feet, and I got up and I was like, oh, sorry. And I went to go to the toilet and kicked them. I was like, oh, sorry, mate, lo siento, lo siento. In the morning, I wake up and there's a fucking knife cut in the bottom of my bag and all my shit's gone. And I was like, you cheeky prick.
You are joking.
Fucking got me.
Oh.
But it happens,
Well,
right?
He was quite resourceful, wasn't he?
He was.
Savvy business operator.
Yeah. How good's that?
But there's little things, there was all, superficial stuff you could get back. It's not ideal having your passport nicked, but, had to wait around in a beautiful part of the world for a couple of days. People looked after you. They understand. And this is the thing. It's like when you get raw and real with people, they'll be like, hey, look, I've got no money. I actually just got robbed last night, but if I can stay here a couple of days, here's my phone. Hold on to that. That was the only thing in my pocket. Hold on to that and fucking we'll work it out after. And the grace of humans sometimes is really what keeps you alive.
That's awesome. I mean, I know, I've had different situations overseas when I've been traveling. I've found myself in some sketchy situations. And at the time, it's like, God help me. But looking back, it's just stories, mate, to tell and same.
Adds to a better book.
Oh, mate. And so, you get over that stuff. Yeah. I mean, if you're lucky to get away with, your life intact, well then, it's just an awesome story to add to that book, isn't it?
I had a run-in in Brazil that would have sent a lot of people home. And I don't share this often because it's what people perceive places like that to be.
Are we getting a scoop? This could be our second scoop of the episode.
Double scoop?
Yeah.
Who doesn't love a double
like
scoop?
a good ice cream, mate.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Always double scoop, never single. So in Brazil, though, it's quite São Paulo, which is one of the bigger concrete jungle cities. It's quite a sketchy place where
that's
even
where the big
locals,
Jesus is, right?
No, that's Rio.
God.
Close.
Never been. I'm going to become a travelling tradie.
Done. You're coming. But yeah, in São Paulo, it's quite, the poverty line's quite low. And there's the wealthy are wealthy and the poor are poor. And there's a lot of abandoned buildings. There's a lot of crime. But this is a good show of, if you act like a dickhead, you'll get treated like a dickhead. And if you pull your head in and keep your wits about you, then you'll be fine. So, I was in São Paulo. I think it was the third or fourth night that I was there. We went out partying. I had, money hanging out of my pockets. I was being loud and boisterous, making a little bit of a ruckus. And next thing I knew, I was completely sober with a fucking gun in my mouth, getting walked to an ATM.
You are joking.
No, and that was, I had a little bit of poo in my pants, and it was a instantaneous sobering moment. Brought to the ATM, literally had to take out what was in there. Lucky I had accounts split and things like that. And these are some of the stuff now that we do to safeguard, is like, hey, have your money like this, because if shit does hit the fan, this is how you can save yourself from actually getting totally robbed. But yeah, that was a really eye-opening moment early on for me to just be like, and I was at a pivotal moment to be like, fuck it, do I go home? I didn't even tell my parents. Like, I didn't tell my family because I knew they'd freak the fuck out. And I went, do I go home, or do I understand why I got into that situation, realize what happened, and do something different about it?
Man, that's a hectic situation.
Aussies have a reputation of, being a bit boisterous. Well, at home and abroad, but certainly abroad. But
and a lot of the times it can be a good thing, but a lot of the times it can also be a bad thing.
Well, you've just got to be smart.
Correct.
It doesn't matter what you're doing. You've always got to have your wits about you and travel smart, right?
Correct.
And realise that you're in a foreign place.
Yeah, but people forget they're overseas.
Yeah, no, it's easy to get carried away.
It happens
It's
all
easy
the
to
time.
get carried away in the fun and and all that, and then next minute you're eating a gun for breakfast. So
I've been overseas with groups of mates, and it's just like you look back, and it's like, wow.
Yeah. I'm surprised none of us ended up in jail.
I'm surprised we wouldn't even do that in Brisbane.
Yeah.
And we were doing that in
But this is
a
also
foreign
the
country.
education around it, though, and what your motive for traveling is. When I first went over, this was it. My motive was, getting fucked up. And
You wanted an escape. You were sort of probably
was,
looking for that. Fuck, how can I just be as free as possible, do whatever I want, and enjoy myself?
yeah, it's just about the good time, isn't it?
Correct.
Purely, nothing else.
No, expectations, nothing on the line. It was all on my time, and that's what gave me a sense of freedom. But when it was quickly in an instant shown that it could be taken away, it was like, boom, okay, now I need to reassess, right? And I'm not thankful that it happened, but I'm happy in a way that it gave me an understanding to pull my head in.
Any situation like that where you get out by the skin of your teeth, you're always going to be thankful for, and it's always going to give you a little bit of
change perspective.
It's
going to give you it's going to give you a shift in your perspective.
But that's just life in general, isn't it? Right? It doesn't
Correct.
matter what you go through. Everything, you always having different experiences that hopefully you're learning from.
Correct.
So you were overseas 3.5 years. So what was the point that you decided to come home? I mean, 3.5 years is almost like, fuck, why don't I just stay here?
Yeah, so when I was overseas, and it got to that point, but it was, being a Roman Catholic Italian family's very, like a big component of our lives. I love my family dearly, and it was also something that my mind shift started to shift towards the end of the trip where I was trying different things. I decided at that point that I loved my trade and I loved doing it for others, but I couldn't see myself going back to what I was doing before I left. I couldn't go back to 80 hours a week, working like a fucking dog until I was 70 and then being regretful or miserable because I didn't do what I could have done.
So was this you setting that narrative up before you came back, or was this...
Yes.
Yeah. So you're sitting over there and you're like, I've got to go home for family, but I'm not going to go back and do what I was going to do.
Well, through the interesting kind of journey of the travel, you meet different people that are freelancers or have side businesses or do random cool shit that you're like, wait, you can sustain yourself by doing that? And it started to really give me different ideas, right? And it didn't manifest into something until I came home. But I started to look into like online selling and e-commerce and that kind of stuff. And that was the start of my business kind of understanding, where I really started to read a lot of books and started to get my education in that while I was traveling, right? When I was in the States, I met a lot of people and they're, a few years ahead in certain things like podcasting and stuff like that. So I started to listen to podcasts and get put on the right kind of avenue of educating my brain. I hadn't picked up a book or a computer in fucking 10 years. Was totally uneducated just from the experience that I had. But when I was younger, I loved to read and I loved to do these things, but I kind of got too cool for school. So when I was traveling, I had free time, so I would read, or I would listen to a podcast, or I would watch a documentary, and it started to really get me into a rhythm of a different shift here Ended up in London. That's when I met my girlfriend at the time. She was at uni, so I stayed in London and basically just went to a whole bunch of events, business events. Had no fucking idea what I was doing, but I just literally just threw myself at all this stuff.
You should have taken yourself to some of her lectures.
I know, right? I would have fallen asleep, mate.
Got your shit stolen again.
So yeah, that was like a big shift for me. So then I wanted to come back to Oz because I was just tired. I'd been overseas for a long time. I missed my family. I wanted to come back and just be in the nest for a little while. So I came back to Oz and I didn't really have a direction. I was doing the e-commerce stuff and I thought that was going to be something that I could expand. And it wasn't like it was sustaining me but it was something, there was no real kind of growth that I could have pushed towards it because it wasn't my passion.
It wasn't tickling you.
How old were you? Well, how old when you came back?
When did I get back? So it was 2017, February 2017.
So you were...
What am I now, 30, 27?
27, yeah, okay.
Fuck.
So you, like, when you said you were leaving, well, it was pretty quick, like, you were just like, I'm going.
Yeah,
right?
it was literally...
Was there a lot of people who were just like, fuck, mate, you can't go, like you shouldn't go? Was there people saying,
Yes.
What about your career?
Yes.
Yeah,
Everyone was freaking out.
Okay, so you've gone and done 3 years. You've loved it. Now you're coming home. Are you sort of sitting there going, like, was it like a feeling of, like, holy shit, now I've got to go back and, fuck, make 3 years up? Or was it, I've learned so much shit, I'm going to go home and, did you have expectations of going home and trying to tell people what you're up to now? Because, like, a lot of people in that age are sort of like, oh, what are you up to now? And you're like, oh, well, I don't really know. I've been overseas 3.5 years. And everyone's like, holy fuck, Adam is just out of control. Like, what's he doing with himself? You know what I mean?
100%.
Was that how you were thinking?
Kind of. Because I was doing the e-commerce stuff, I was very... I was in a very set mindset of... Like, I had a non-negotiable goal that I wasn't going to go back to work full-time. And that wasn't because I'm too cool for school. It was because I don't want to get stuck in the rhythm and complacency of earning $2,000 a week again and then losing 5 years and going, what the fuck just happened, right? Along my travels as well, as I was saying earlier, I was a very angry person. The travel really beat that out of me and made me understand what would actually make me should get angry at or not, or how to understand different situations.
What do you mean by angry? Like,
I'd punch on every weekend going out from 18 to 22.
You were that guy.
I was that guy. I was definitely that guy. I was super angry. I'd flip off the handle. But that was an understanding of me because I didn't know how to decipher my emotions or have an outlet for what that was. And it would be through aggression or through anger, frustration. I would smash shit. Like, that was who I was. So coming back from travel, the first thing that... was the biggest noticeable difference was my temperament. And people noticed that straight away. I was like, fuck, like, you've changed a lot, like, for good. You're a lot more calmer. You're a lot more, collected. You're a lot more, and I'm like, yeah, great. Like, that's great that you noticed that.
Well, that's when you take yourself off the hamster wheel. I suppose it's that you've got to grow, don't you?
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't just... Like, if you were just in that self-destructive stage again, like, you would never have made it out of there.
Yeah, correct.
When you came back, did you notice after 3.5 years that...
Nothing had changed?
Nothing had changed.
Absolutely fuck all. Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed. And I'm so glad that you brought that up.
Brian's still pouring coffees down the local coffee shop.
Man, someone just got fatter. Someone had a baby. Someone got married. That was fucking it. And, like, don't get me wrong, that's all good and well, but I was just like, fuck. And this is where we were talking about before. It's like that time seems like so long, but it's not. It's just a fucking blink of an eye. And you come back and you're like, nothing's different. Like, it's literally the same.
Oh, yep. Sharon and Steve are still fighting and fucking, yeah.
Yeah, man. And that was the biggest thing for me. That actually was fuel for me. That was fuel for me to be like, yes, you made the right decision. 2, give something the crack because who cares? And try something different. And if... The thing I love about being a tradie, though, and this is the thing that a lot of people don't talk about, it's something we can always fall back on, man.
Yeah.
Like, I can literally just go, fuck this, I'm going to go back to work, get a job somewhere, and we're great.
Get a pair of Stilsons and a bloody gumboots and you're away.
Thank you, good sir.
Does Stilson's come in pairs?
Well, you can get a big one or a small one. Actually, you can get them in threes.
Threes, yeah.
God, this is awful. Now,
This guy.
do we? Yeah, I completely agree that this is the beauty of having a trade, and you can always fall back on it, and it's just such a safety net that not many people have that luxury of having. But in saying that, people can be resourceful, and there's plenty of work out there and plenty of things to do if you want it.
Yeah.
I hear far too many people complaining about not being able to find the right job, this, that, or the other. But I guess it depends how bad you want it, and what you're willing
and
to
trying
get
different
there.
things. And sometimes that does mean you feel like you're starting from zero.
But the interesting thing about that is often, like the people that were probably saying to you, "Oh shit, don't go overseas." You got your career and stuff. When you came back, they're like, "Fuck, I'm so jealous what you went and did. That's awesome." You know what I mean? Like,
I wish I could do that.
The amount of people that were like, when we told people what we were going to do, they're like, "Mate, you're fucking psycho. Like, you're going to go broke. You're mad."
Yeah.
And then now everyone's like, "Man, you guys are having so much fun." It's just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, don't be so worried about having a go at something or changing something.
And don't let any of those outside factors, change
Sway you.
Like if this, like if it all fell over tomorrow, Dan and I'd be like, "That was fun."
You know what I mean?
That
was
this is
good
what we're
fun.
talking about, the 1 year and the 10-year thing
Yeah.
before. It's the same thing, right? People are like, "Oh, you're just doing all this cool stuff and you're so lucky." And I'm like, "Lucky? Come on, mate." I've just been busting my ass for 3 years, but I love it.
That's the other thing as well, because like this journey for us started a long time ago,
Right.
and believe me, there were 7-day weeks, 3 months at a time
Correct, yeah.
for solid 18
Everyone
months.
going, "Mate, you got to be, you're coming out Friday night." I was like, "Nah, me and Dan are going to do a cashy."
Yeah, we're gonna
"Oh,
cashy
mate,
this
can you
week."
just have a weekend off? And I'm like, "Well, no, we've got this goal,
Yeah.
like we're trying to go and do this thing." And like, "Mate, you're wasting your time."
Yeah,
Like,
but
come
people
on.
don't realise it until you got somewhere, and then they're all like, "Fucking yeah, awesome!" Like, good on for cracking on.
In saying that, luckily for us, we had each other, right? And so when you are in it with someone else who has that same goal or is equally
So like, if
driven,
you're not going to bitch it, well, I'm definitely not going to bitch
well,
it.
if you're doing it, I'm doing it. And then,
Yeah,
and
you
then
push yourselves.
And then
right?
for where we got to was like you get to a stage where you're on a roll and you've kind of ddone 4 or 5 weekends in a row, and it's
You're
like,
like, yeah,
oh my god,
we're doing this.
How many do you reckon we can do?
yeah, should
know.
go for 20.
Yeah.
But I see, like, I think there's a massive misconception as well of people get in the grind, get in the hamster wheel, aren't trying to learn new things, aren't trying to get better at business, and they think that, fuck, it's just going to happen one day. Like, I'm just going to wake up
Yeah,
and it's all going to be fucking rosy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm, like, I suppose for you now, like, you're with traveling tradies, like, you're fucking putting it in, man. Like, you're smashing it. Like, explain to us what you are doing now.
yeah, cool. So let me go back a little bit first. When I got back to Oz, I had no concept that I was going to turn what I did overseas into a business. It was through putting myself out there, educating myself, getting in that business mindset. I had no fucking idea what I was doing. Like you boys, I'm sure, kind of just walked in and went, fucking how hard could it be? Next minute, shit. There's a lot of things happening, right? And that was the natural progression, but it was turning because everyone, like you were saying, Ed, everyone coming up going, "Oh, it's amazing you travel for so long. How'd you do it? Blah, 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 blah." And when I started to realize that people wanted to actually experience something like that, but had no idea how, and I had done it, it was like I had a blueprint. It was like, great, why don't I turn that into a business? What I didn't know was how elaborate and detailed and crazy the idea was. But I guess that naivety is what got me to where I am now. And we've got over 500 tradies registered. We're trying to build out the technology to facilitate these larger numbers. We've done pilot trips to the original hostel I went to Brazil. Solo tradies have gone overseas as well. And we found a lot of, the problems that arose from that and how we needed to fix them, right? And that for us is creating a marketplace and an online platform that tradies and venues around the world can connect, negotiate, solidify different opportunities. And we as the administration keep that all clear, open board, and direct it of how it works. Yep. So we take the kind of the problem and the trouble out for them. And basically our criteria of exchange is if a tradie can do 3 days of 3 to 4 hours for a venue, they've sufficed for, food and accommodation for the week. And in that amount of time, that's, work for a venue that they really, really need. And that's wasted capacity for them. They've got empty beds that they're losing out anyway. They're happy to offer that. There's other volunteer platforms that, like I said before, reception, cleaning, looking after chickens, whatever it is. But we've got a niche of, things always need to be fixed when you've got 150 people running in and out of your place all day. That's where we kind of come in.
And the whole thing is that we're failing to even recognise here is the journey that you are personally on through doing it all.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. Like it's the travel is inspired, wanting to create this for other people to be able to travel, but you're also learning that much and just putting yourself out there and having a crack at this as well.
Yeah.
There's also that whole side of things which would not have happened if it weren't for the adventure as well.
I think that the adventure gave me the resilience and the grit. And don't get me wrong, I think the trade, being in a trade and having those long days and being pushed and rolling up the sleeves and getting dirty has really contributed to me being able to get to where I am also. The travel gave me that perspective. Putting them both together has gotten me through the bullshit to get to the good shit of traveling tradies, but we're still a long way off of where we're going to go. And as you guys know, you're always evolving, you're always growing, you're always iterating. But how to stay on top of that and at the same time keep yourself motivated, right? And your mind fresh and aligned with, so you don't lose sight of the vision of the goal.
I always said from when we met, I said, well, if this, if whatever we were doing fell over tomorrow, I would love to become a traveling tradie in a heartbeat.
Done.
So how does it actually look? How would it look for someone like me who decides, righto, I'm a chippy. So I think about the tools and stuff that I've got.
Don't worry about the tools, we sorted out. So basically, what the essence is of what we're trying to do is you want to go to a destination. We've created a network of venues in that place. We connect you to that place and you go offer and barter your skills for food and accommodation. We've got technology that facilitates that. So it also involves, a new revenue model, which is like a tap on, tap out card. So all that currency, I guess, of time and exchange is being tracked and measured without it actually being a monetary exchange. And, for us to build that out, to come on, we've got, we created the need of what about tools? So we created a travel toolkit, right? Weighs 7 kilos, fits in your backpack, away you go. So just ticking off, we've got aligned partners in insurance and flights and things like that. So we're creating a system where you can come. It's a one-stop shop if you're a tradie, and eventually, hopefully not just tradies, but a one-stop shop for tradies to come, travel, use your skills to barter it, and have all the things you need without it being a headache. The biggest thing, there's a lot of people go to travel and they're like, oh, what about this and what about that? Great. We give you a little handbook. This is what you got to do. We don't incorporate all your flights and all that, but we have partners that do that give you special deals and can take you there in an easy, seamless fashion.
So taking that step, I guess, what does that look like? So for someone like what you did, like actually taking that step and saying, yep, I'm done. Yep. And I want to go. Like how much stuff in your life have you got? Do you have to organise?
Yeah. But this is a lot of things. Like people go, oh, I've got this and I got car insurance and I got my postal address. Who cares? It's all good. It takes 3 days to do it. I'll give you a list and you can sort it out.
Yeah, but people like excuses.
Correct. Complacency, right?
People love excuses.
Yeah. So how do we, and that was the biggest thing for traveling traders, is how do we break down all the barriers of resistance and make it as seamless and easy for you as possible? And that's what we're trying to create. And that technology for us gives us that ability to do that.
I have said on a number of occasions, different places that we've gone and spoken at, we get the opportunity to talk to apprentices, this, that, and the other, and it's like, God, don't go out and buy the new
$60,000 ute.
You do not need every flash tool to get started.
Yeah.
You just get the bare essentials. You don't need a new ute. You just get a second-hand ute. Do not get up to debt, up to your eyeballs in debt. Because it's so important at that, growth stage to be able to have the freedom to be able to get away and, go and spend a few months overseas and join traveling tradies or doing that, because those are the experiences that really give you, and really nourishing, right?
Yeah.
I just think
that education around it. But this is the thing, going back to the education of no one tells us that shit. And hats off for trying to spread the message. But when you're 18 years old, full of testosterone, and you see a flashy new car that might get your skirt, that's their driver, right? So it's being able to guide that somewhere and being like, hey, lads, or gals, travel.
That's another thing that needs to be broken down, because if it's the flashy ute that's getting you a bit of action, if someone else is attracted by material objects and that's what forms these relationships, well, then that's just another layer of bullshit that needs to be cut through.
Yeah.
Right?
Second that.
But I guess it's easy to see how, people get caught up in that sort of stuff.
Yeah, just proper guidance and education around it. And if we can, just show people that, travel's still quite daunting for a lot of people. And if we can actually show you that it's not that hard, have an awesome time at it, get culturally immersed and actually travel and not be a tourist, mate, I'm good. Like, we're real good.
But figuring this stuff out along the way, you know, like
Yeah.
you when you're put in a situation where you're forced to figure it out,
Yeah.
and there's no one else to really rely on apart from yourself,
Mm.
you learn a lot and you figure it out. You know, it's not that hard at the end of the day. Like you're gonna if you got to figure it out, you're gonna find a way to figure it out. Yeah.
A lot of people are more. So what is it? There's the fear. The fear of something happening is usually greater than it actually happening, right? And think about how many times you've been like, "Fuck, I don't want to do that," and then you do it, and you're like, "That wasn't that bad."
Yeah, like waterproofing for a week. That sucked.
But once it's done, you're like,
You're
I've
like,
done that. Yeah,
done.
check out that lovely wall that I've waterproofed.
So what would you say, sort of the closing stuff, Adam, for people out there thinking about a change? What would you say to them?
Yeah. Look, you don't know what you don't know, but if you can find people that are aligned with what you want, and there's a lot of people out there that do think about it but don't take the plunge, you just got to find aligned companies, people, organizations that you resonate with, follow with, and reach out, have a crack, suss it out. You know, it might not tickle your fancy. It might not go 100% according to how you plan, but if you don't never go, you never know, right? So.
And then what else do you have to do? Start a travel Instagram page and
become a vlogger. Great.
Yeah.
get one of those photos that you see of old love holding your hand and pulling you off into the distance, but you never see the bloke. You never see the bloke.
Actually,
in
what
those
would be
photos.
hilarious is using like a handle off a hammer, like the hammer. That'd be hilarious.
Good one.
There's
Should we?
content for you.
Well, now everyone knows.
Yeah, now everyone knows.
That's
Done
a
now,
good one.
That is a great idea. So how can people get around traveling tradies?
Yeah.
And, you know, what's the best way to sort of get involved or help support you?
Yeah, well, hit travelingtradies.com, check out the website there, sign up, register if you're a tradie or a venue. We're in an interesting stage at the moment trying to build out the tech, so we're just taking registrations of interest. We've got another pilot trip happening in a couple of months, but that's to test out this new revenue model and the new tech that we're building. So we're looking for, you know, like-minded peeps and tradies and travelers that want to give it a crack. One thing to say though is we have a pretty strict vetting process because you need to be aligned. If you want to go smash it and do whatever, go to Kentucky, and I'm happy to do an introduction. We're just looking for people that actually just want, you know, a time out to experience the world and what it has to offer, and kind of that's where we're at. So middle of a crowdfunding campaign as well, finishing up shortly. So if it is something you want to support, go pledge some cash there. We'll give you a cheeky reward of a Trademutt shirt, possibly a couple other stuff. And yeah, let's do this together because we can't do it alone, but we're trying to create something awesome, and that's about it.
Where are you going on the next pilot trip?
Back to Brazil.
Oh, mate.
Back to the OGs.
Jeez, it looks good.
It is. It's beautiful. You can come if you want, lads.
A little bit busy with content creation.
We're busy doing podcasts. But yeah, no, definitely, mate. One day down the track, we'll have to do something.
Yeah, for sure.
But mate, thanks for your time. It's
Thanks
bloody awesome.
for having me.
Good chat.
Always a pleasure.
To reach out, you can find Travelling Tradies on Instagram, Facebook.
At Travelling Tradies Official.
Yep.
Is our handles. Reach out. Also, if you know, we've done a couple of events with different organisations. You know, the mental health stuff, as you guys know, is dear to my heart. So it's something that we're trying to push out and impact in the industry as well. So wherever I can help, you know where to find me too.
Mate,
Legend.
I'm just going to ask you to do one thing for the sign-off. Can you just give us a big
Give
down,
a little
down the
twirl.
barrel of the camera?
Cheeky moustache.
Oh, thank
Nailed
you,
it.
man. Love
Thanks,
it.
mate.
Thank you, lads.
Good on you, brother.
Cheers, mate. Cheers.